Hey there, it's Lisa Campion here, and today we're going to talk about how to integrate a spiritual growth spurt. And I'm really noticing these days that people, and this is true, totally true for me too, are going through some pretty rapid growth spurts. Maybe it's a spiritual growth spurt, maybe it's a psychic, like sudden psychic opening, and they can be really intense. Maybe you're working on yourself a lot and you're doing like really deep personal growth work. And if any of those are happening for you, then congratulations, that's amazing. And we often need a period of integration to help us process all of that. Now, these growth spurts can be beautiful, but sometimes they can be challenging, difficult, like a little, they get a little gnarly, right? Um, Maybe they're full of joy. Like I have some sometimes that are just expansive, joy filled, ecstatic. And maybe they can be like a big change in your life. So maybe you're getting married, having a baby, starting a new job, or moving. And that's so amazing. But it also takes a toll on us, right? Um, Maybe you took a workshop and you just get all cracked open and juicy and open and expanded. And I love that when that happens. But sometimes we can go the opposite way. We go like a little deep into our feelings, and it can bring up things from our past that need to be healed. That can be a little bit of a rougher ride. Sometimes we experience that as depression or anxiety, or really like one of my clients said the other day, it felt like swimming through jagged glass. Yikes, right? And when we're in these sort of deeper times, we can fall back into our old patterns of trauma, bad habits, or just feel sort of stuck, like we're in pain. And that gets worse if we get really judgy about it. So if we're like, wow, there's something wrong with me, what's going on here, why am I back in these old things again? What we need is a really lot of compassion for ourselves when that's happening. So now more than ever, it feels like our growth is sort of like these roller coasters, like high highs and then low lows, and the high highs and then low lows again. And yet we're somehow always moving forward when that happens. I know for me, I really need some like chill out and integration time after one of these growth surges. And I think we can fall into the habit of like, I've got to grow, I've got to change, and we don't give ourselves that integration time, which is honestly 100% necessary. And it's really critical to allow ourselves some downtime. Because I know we can really overbalance ourselves and throw ourselves into kind of a healing crisis if we're constantly pushing forward, and we don't give ourselves that time to rest, integrate, and digest what we've already experienced. And in worst case scenarios, we can really lose it. Sometimes that looks like burnout. That's what usually happens to me. I push so hard that I get burned out, and then I get sick. And I have to like sit down on the couch and rest and be a couch slug for a couple of days. And it's, even though I know better, I still put myself into that dilemma of move forward, push until collapse, right? Sometimes it looks like a crisis, something cracks or crumbles inside of us or our life. And I think this is really true, especially true of people that are having intense spiritual and psychic development. If we push too hard, we can destabilize our own mental health, and that can sometimes have devastating consequences. And I see this a lot with people, my students and clients who are move too fast, too hard, and are under supported in maybe plant medicine journeys, psychedelic journeys, and end up very destabilized, a big hot mess, and sometimes even a psychotic mess. So we need time to let our personal selves, let our subconscious integrate those experiences and not push ourselves into higher and higher levels of consciousness without taking a break. And I've seen it happen with people who've done too much intensive past life work all at once, or too much trauma recovery work too fast and too hard without enough support. And believe me, I get it. We're all on a fast track here. We can feel very pushed forward as we're part of this shift in human consciousness. By just the general accelerated pace of the world that we live in, it seems like we're all going at a breakneck speed right now. And sometimes we feel pushed forward just by the desire to not be in pain anymore. Like you're going to do every form of therapy known to earth all at once because you're just tired of feeling like, pain and suffering all the time. Or maybe we're just thrilled with the and excited by the possibilities of the spiritual growth and psychic development, which can be totally fun and is totally fun. So it's super wise, I think, to honor that we're complex beings and that we need to take into loving consideration all the parts of us. We need to our goal is to harmonize and integrate the totality of ourselves and not sort of split or fragment ourselves even more, right? So if you find yourself feeling burned out, crispy, exhausted by the growth that you've been doing, I really invite you to slow down a little bit. Take a breath, attend to your inner child and your other more vulnerable parts and give them some time, attention to process all that we're going through at the moment. And here are some ways to do that. If you sometimes you just need to take a break. So take a break and stop doing whatever that you're doing that's been intense. Take a week or two off of that like incredibly vigorous like yoga, practitioner training you're doing, or that super strict meditation discipline, or all the psychic development and therapy that you're doing. Take a break, just put it down for a minute and get it back into your body. Do some physical stuff. Garden, clean your house, take a walk, pick a good physical project that brings you joy and re-engage in the body and just let that stuff go for a minute. Please make sure that you're doing a lot of self-care. Definitely make sure you're eating, exercising, sleeping, and add in any pleasurable self-care activities that feel good. Go get a massage, go get your nails done, go eat a good meal somewhere, and really sometimes do nothing. This is like hard for me, I confess, but it's so important. And I did a bunch of it last week. Sit outside and watch the grass grow. Lie outside on your back and watch the clouds go by. Stare out the window. Binge watch something stupid on Netflix. Take a nap. Your inner self will really thank you, because our inner self needs this fallow. The fields need to go fallow sometimes, and there's a lot happening on the inner plane when we're do nothing. And sadly, we live in a culture that really devalues that and thinks there's something wrong if how can you just do nothing? Like we have to be in this constant motion. And when we are in constant motion, we're not allowing our inner selves, our psyche, our subconscious, our inner states, our emotional selves to filter through all that and process all that we've been experiencing. So processing any emotions is another part of this. Get some time in your journal and write it all out. Find somebody to talk to or get help with a therapist or healer to help you process all that. So if you're starting to feel burned out, funky, stretched too thin, it's time to relax and engage in some of these more integrative processes. So drop some stuff in the comments here. I'd love to know what works for you for your integration. Yeah, I think we can share ideas and gain a lot, like what helps you integrate when you've been kind of on the fast track, spiritually speaking, for a little bit. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Stop by my website, visit me, lisacampion.com. I'd love to hear from you.